With the footage I'm about to share with you, it's getting harder and harder to strike up a balanced conversation in regards to the situation we all find ourselves living in. So, on that note, let's just get straight into it, shall we? Now, this is happening on a daily, pretty much a daily occurrence now, isn't it? Hearing, and like I said, I'm going to share with you examples of this, including this one, and show you some footage as well. Back in my day, we used to have this thing called free speech, and we used to be able to say whatever was on our mind, and if something wasn't right, we were able to, all right, Granny, okay, Granny, all right, settle yourself down. Settle yourself down. Come on, sit down. Get yourself to sleep again. Have another nice nap. Hush, little Granny, everything's gonna be alright. Eventually, when the police stop looking around people's homes for social media posts. Yes, Granny. Back in the day, there was this thing called free speech that we're very proud to have had in this country. Of course, like with all things, and this is where the balance comes in, and it's so easy to jump on bandwagons and rhetoric, so I am going to, however difficult it is, going to try and strike up a bit of balance where we can, because I believe it is in balance that we can move forward with this sort of stuff. And find solutions rather than jumping on extremes, which is generally what they want. So let's just try here, shall we? And there is always more context to everything, yeah? And of course, when it comes to things like the media, they sensationalize everything, of course, because it's all about getting the eyes and the attention on what it is that they want it on. But generally, when you're hearing about grandmothers in their 70s being put in police vans and being arrested because they're holding signs up saying "here to talk," it's quite hard to find a balance with that, as I mentioned. When I'm sure you hear of situations like this, gent, and as I just said, there's been many previously as well, hasn't there? Many examples like this. And you may have seen this footage as well. Man bundled away into police van in dead of night and arrested for a social media post. I saw the footage of this. I focused on sharing footage of some other stuff in this video that I'm about to share with you. So I'm not going to share everything. I could have, of course, played this, but it's been around for a while, and it's likely you might have seen it if you've been paying attention online. But it's basically, again, police officers come in late at night, again, so it's not even in the day thing here, in regards to it being dealt with like that. We're talking social media posts being dealt with at night, and again, in regards to the legalities behind stuff like that, of course, you can be appointed legal representation via the state, of course, but for individuals who might want to bring their own counsel in, because this stuff, as I mentioned, is happening so frequently. How does that sort of stuff work a little bit later on in the day? People aren't as accessible as they are in the day, are they? And bits like that. So look, and of course, in regards to the overall general argument to all this kind of stuff, what about crime? As in, it's all crime, and it's all people, and it should all be dealt with. Yes, yeah. But then there's muggings and burglaries and sexual assault and attacks. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And you expect criminals to be caught at all times of day and night for many things, but social media posts, I think that's always going to be the talking point. Again, just another example. British man sentenced 2 years in prison for a Facebook post, Facebook comment. I mean, really, that's, going back to Granny. We had this thing called free speech. I never thought, even post 2020, I never thought in a million years that this would be a reality. I don't know about you, but I just, it still blows my mind that we're in a situation where people can, being online, the whole thing is, it's a little bit like being drunk, right? You get drunk and it brings down filters, yeah, in the mind, doesn't it? Yeah, it makes things feel less real, and therefore people do like crazier stuff, right? Online is kind of the same thing, isn't it? It makes things feel less real, and therefore people are more likely to get into a heated debate or say things that they don't mean and react in a certain way in the heat of the moment, right? And all of that now, it's like there's no common sense type filters in regards to, let's think about this, right? Was that person really angry? Did they say something stupid? Maybe, right? Does it mean going to prison for it? Again, that's the whole thing connected to this. As I promised, I'll come back to the point in just a second where, I do want to add some balance to this, and I'm going to play a couple of clips that, as I mentioned, do find it quite hard to strike balance in regards to the situation in which we're in. But the way I want to end this is just, you'll see what I mean. Just let me play these videos, and then we'll come back to that. It's not a good look, okay? However we look at this, it's not a good look. However much context you might add, whatever the situation may be, and as I mentioned, there is always more. However, snatching flags out of people's hands like that is never going to be a good look, right? That's just how it is, okay? It is. And in that instance, I believe that, this is a clip, I think, from Billy Moore. And it goes on and he talks to her. And I mean, the person in the blue there, the copper, or is it a copper? I think it says police liaison on the back. Is that a police officer or is it community officer? Has he got the same powers as police? He's got police actually written on the sleeves, actually, isn't it? So maybe it is an actual police officer as well. All of this sort of stuff gets a little bit confusing, doesn't it, with the different colours and what have you? But it says police, so therefore, let's assume at this stage that he's got the police powers. Billy Moore spoke to this young lady after. He said, taking the flag off her. She was 16, and it went on from there. But as I mentioned, whatever spin, whatever context is on that, it's not a good look.
At the end of the day,
I'll just head on down to the protest then.
right, so put your flag away until you get there.
What's happening here?
The thing that I've got to put my flag down, I can't have it at any part in the city or anywhere.
Why's that?
I've got to put it away and
place.
take it back out my bag. And
That he can't have his flag?
And this is another situation like that, right? He's got the England flag and he's being told to put it away, right? Let's add a little bit of context to it.
There's conditions in place in relation to protest.
There's Palestinian flags flying along there,
They're in their designated protest area.
No, I only
So you have to have a designated protest area?
Yeah, the designated protest area.
Again, I think that's Billy Moore. I think this might be his clip as well. And, of course, he's reacting to the situation here.
What's happening, you watch all the time.
they've got their flags out, they're in their designated area, which is been...
But isn't the UK just a designated area for your flag anyway?
Right, so again, I think that's Billy Moore, and he's saying, in a nutshell, it's basically now these sort of clips being shared, basically you need to be in a designated area to have your flag. Right, okay. Now, here's where the balance is trying to be struck here. So basically what the police officers are saying is, because there's protests and bits going on, you've got to fly your flags in designated areas. Okay, right. Here's the argument. We may be one of the only countries on this planet where this might be an issue in regards to flying your own country's flag, right? And what if the guy had watched a bit of footy, and felt extra patriotic, so thought, I'm proud of me country. According to this situation, that is a niche. Yeah, you're not allowed. You can't have your flag in that area. It's got to be in a designated area. In regards to the balance of that, and if there is an argument to this, from the police point of view, they're basically saying there could be a safety aspect to this, right? Because there are protests taking place. And maybe being in that area with that flag might raise some safety issues, perhaps. That, again, is basically the situation there, I believe. Okay? Now, coming back to this in regards to what I meant about having a balanced view, which is what we tried to do with that footage as well. But I just personally, people getting locked up for any sort of social media related stuff, people having flags ripped out their hands, it's not a good look. It's not good. However you try and look at this, but I wanted to add this because I also want to add the human element to this, okay? Because it's recently come out, there's new figures saying the thousands of officers are on mental health leave. Right. So, the human element to this is that we are all human, and there's good and bad in everything, and exactly the same thing is going to exist within the police force. There's going to be good officers, bad officers, senior and junior. Like the mental health issues, I would imagine with that job it's getting harder. Okay? And imagine if you go into the police with the ideas of fighting the bad guys like a good copper would, right? And then the inspector or the senior person or whoever it is that's instructing you to go around someone's house to arrest them in the middle of the night about a social media post. Now, if you're a good guy, you're going to have some cognitive dissonance about doing stuff like that. And maybe that's where the mental health stuff is coming in as well, in regards to that being a challenge too. So I just wanted to also add this because I think it's important that there is a human element to this, that there's good and bad in every profession, including the police force. There's good coppers, and what defines that, in my opinion, is things like empathy, common sense. Yeah, that's what defines good and bad from my point of view. I don't know about you. But if there's an individual in any job that lacks empathy and common sense, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. Then when it's about, I was only doing my job, no. For me, that's no good. All right? But I'll wrap this up by saying once again very quickly, when it comes to being punished for social media stuff, when it comes to having flags ripped out the hand, I just, it's not good. Ta-ta.